Yeah, my name is Rick Canterbury. I'm going to be your host today on Archer Talk 101. And what we're going to talk about today is the mental aspect of shooting your bow. Um, a good book I just listened to on Audible was the Zen in Archery, how that works. And when you're practicing, you have to look at all kinds of different aspects. And in that book, they talk about somebody going over and practicing, and you do a lot of practicing, and then they were shooting recurves and or longbows, one of them like that, and you're going to work through a lot of emotional part for it. You're going to be looking at uh, becoming in tune with what you're doing. Compounds is a little bit different and not instinctively, but when you're shooting instinctively, you need to be aware of where your target is and how your mental state is. One thing that you want to look at when you're going through that is don't pay attention to your last shot because you can't change it. And don't think about your next shot because it hasn't happened yet. And you want to concentrate on the shot you're doing right now. That's the only one that makes any difference. Uh, One of the things that can help you is if you start practicing concentration where you're going to focus on one item and try and block out other aspects that go around you. Uh, One thing that's nice if you can take and when you're shooting, practice when there's a lot of noise and stuff going around so you can learn how to tuning it out. Because last thing you want to do is you want to be hearing people playing in the background or talking or other commotion going on, and now you're thinking about that and you can't think about your target. Uh, the other part of that is you want to focus on your target, whether you're shooting a five spot or a single spot. You want to focus on the center of it. The five spots that have the X ring. You want to take and focus on, if you can see the X, you want to focus on the X. If not, you want to focus on where it is. Don't focus on the whole target, because if you look at shooting like a 4-foot square backstop, you're going to hit the backstop, not consistently. Then you put a little bit smaller target on it, and if you're focusing on that, you're going to hit it, part of the time you're going to miss it. Till you get down to shooting it like a 1-inch circles. And now as you're concentrating on focusing on the target, that's where part of the mental aspect comes in is don't focus on your pin, because if you're focused on the pin, after all, what are you aiming at? Wherever the pin happens to be is what you're going to shoot. So, that's where we're talking about the mental game. You need to be focused on the target or the spot that you want to hit. Not the whole target, but the specific spot you want to hit. Put that pin over it and go ahead and let the pin float around, because your focus is on where you want the arrow to go and end up, not where you're currently at. The other thing people do, you're going to look at, what you're thinking of while you're shooting. Are you trying to see your arrow in flight? If you're looking over your bow when you shoot, try and see your arrow hitting your target, you're affecting the way the arrow is going to hit. So, that's where the aspect of you want to focus on your target. Don't worry about what the arrow's doing. Look at it after you've already completed your shot. Then you want to look at following through. What are you thinking of while you're shooting? Are you thinking of the spot? Are you thinking about something else that happened in the past? Are you focusing on how you're doing? If you've been shooting, all X's, now you're thinking about that. Okay, I need to shoot the X. Now you're thinking about what you do. You need to focus on the X. Don't worry about where the arrow goes. As you get better and better at focusing, concentrating, and practice, you're going to get a little bit better at that. So that's where you want to focus all of your attention. That's where we talk about the mental aspect of archery, or the Zen and art of archery, is you want to mentally be involved in that exact moment that you're doing. Don't think about what your score has to be. Don't think about what it has been. The last shot is gone. Like I said, the last shot is gone. You can't change it. The next shot, don't think about what you have to do in the future, because that is not something that you need to be concerned with, because it's not ready to happen. Uh, you want to try and work on concentration, and you can do this in other aspects too. Take just for a practice, sit down while you're doing something, not driving, of course, or working in machinery. If you're just sitting down, try focusing on an object and let your mind just focus on that object as if nothing else exists. Um, the guys kind of get accused of being able to do this when people are talking to us, like our wives are talking to us, like, oh, we can't hear them. Well, it's because we're focusing on something and we're able to tune out what is not important at the time. Not that somebody talking to you is not important, but when you look at focusing on one object at a time, try focusing on that. Sometimes a little meditation will help, where you clear your mind of everything. Maybe before each shot, you might want to take a few seconds, a couple deep breaths, clear your mind, and now focus on that target that you're shooting at, the specific spot you're going to shoot at, and now then come up, execute your concentration that shot, where the whole time as you're bringing your bow up, drawing it back, your only focus is on that spot. You're going to put the pin, because you've already decided which pin you're going to use, if you have multiple pins, or you've adjusted the pins. Concentrate on that spot only as you're going back, and then as you're drawing your bow back, your concentration is only on where you want the arrow to go, that exact location you want it to go. So mentally think of that the whole time you're going through. That's one thing that will definitely help you. So that's kind of my information I had for now. But one thing that you can do is, if you're interested in learning how to do this a little bit more, you can get some coaching. I do have a coaching program that's available, and you can always get a hold of me there. I'll leave a link for the description in there. You can come out to the Archery Talk 101 Facebook group. I'll leave a link to that, or you can contact me through archerytalk101.com, and there I'll post other information, like the podcast I do. There'll be a link for there. Anything I review or any training techniques that I record, I'll have out there, as well as any coaching courses. There'll be links into there. So one thing that I do offer is a free 15-minute consultation where you can just fill out a little survey, so I kind of know where you're at and what's going on, and then you can book a 15-minute call with me, kind of see where things are at, where you're at in your archery program, and where you're developing it, and where you'd like to take it. So I'll leave a link to that in there as well. So once again, this is Roy Canterbury. I've been your host today on Archery Talk 101, and we'll see you next week in next week's podcast.